Hello to everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, as we continue our lesson about the structures of globalization, we will talk about market integration. In this lesson, we have three learning outcomes to achieve by the end of this topic. First is to explain the role of international financial institutions in the creation of a global economy. Second is to narrate a short history of global market integration in the 20th century. And third is to identify the attributes of global corporations. The history of global market integration goes way back during the Roman days, as evidenced by their expansive yet unified empire made possible by an extensive network of transportation, common language, common legal system, and common currency. In more recent history, cooperation among countries was crucial to help rebuild economies as a result of world wars, economic depression, and other crises. In today's modern world, cooperation among countries continues to be relevant. It is a prerequisite to achieve development goals. This period was marked by significant expansion of trade, as transportation and communication became more efficient due to many technological advancements like the steam engine and telegraph. Suez Canal was opened, which decreased travel time between Europe and Asia. In general, the government's policies were favorable to openness of trade, capital mobility, and migration. The economic structure followed the core periphery pattern. Capital-rich European countries were the center of trading. Manufactured goods and capital flowed from the core to periphery. On the other hand, raw materials and natural resources flowed from the periphery to the core. However, the international economic activities that flourished in the 19th century were eclipsed by two world wars and an economic depression. World War I in 1914 to 1918, the Great Depression in 1930s, and World War II in 1939 to 1945. After World War II, the major powers composed of the Western European countries, the United States or America, and Japan took the colossal task of rebuilding the physical infrastructures, international trade, and the monetary systems. It would take decades of efforts from these major powers before they ultimately succeeded in restoring to a substantial degree the global economic integration. The Bretton Woods Agreement was created in a conference of all the World War II Allied countries at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, USA in 1944. The conference agenda was to address the economic sufferings brought about by the Great Depression in the 1930s and World War II. The Bretton Woods Agreement established a new global monetary system. It replaced the gold standard with the US dollar as the global currency. It created the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to monitor the new system. Countries agreed that their central banks will maintain fixed exchange rates between their currencies and the US dollar. Countries agreed to avoid trade wars. They will not lower their currencies strictly to increase trade. The International Monetary Fund provides financial assistance to countries on economic crisis or with threatened currencies. It helps to protect the stability of the global monetary system. World Bank provides financing to developing countries to help reduce poverty and support economic growth. Supports key developmental areas such as education, health, agriculture, and infrastructure. The general agreement on tariffs and trade was signed into law on January 1, 1948, with 23 countries after World War II to regulate world trade in an effort to aid economic recovery. Its main objective was to remove barriers blocking international trade by reducing tariffs, quotas, and subsidies. It remained in place and active until the World Trade Organization replaced it in 1995. The World Trade Organization is an independent multilateral organization that became responsible for trade services, non-tariff related barriers to trade, and other broader areas of trade liberalization. 125 nations signed on with the World Trade Organization, constituting more than 90% of the world's trade. Let us now talk about economic integration. Disclaimer: in this lesson, market integration will be discussed mostly from economic perspective. Thus, when we say economic integration, it alludes to market integration. While we know the market integration is a broader phenomena beyond an economic dimension. Economic integration is the term used to describe how different aspects between economies are integrated. As the economic integration increases, the barriers to trade between markets diminishes. The degree of economic integration can be categorized into five stages. We have preferential trading area, free trade area, customs union, common market, economic union. When we say preferential trading area, it is considered as the first stage of economic integration. It gives preferential access to certain products from participating countries by, by reducing tariffs. The tariffs are not eliminated but are lower versus non participating countries. Preferential trading area can result to either trade creation or trade diversion. When we say trade creation, it occurs when the preferential trading results to the substitution of high-cost local products by lower-cost imported products. Trade diversion occurs when the preferential trading results to the substitution of low-cost imports from non-member states with higher cost imports from member states. Second, we have the free trade area. It is considered as the second stage of economic integration. It eliminates tariffs, quotas, and preferences on most goods and services traded between countries in the trade bloc. However, there is no unified policy outside the free trade area. The North American Free Trade Agreement was created in 1994 to eliminate barriers to trade and investment between the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. It is one of the world's largest free trade zones. The North American Free Trade Agreement had both positive and negative consequences. For the positive, it lowered prices by removing tariffs, provided opportunities for businesses to expand their market, quadrupled trade between the three nations, and generated 5 million US jobs. For its negative effect, we have the excessive pollution, loss of manufacturing jobs, exploitation of workers in Mexico, move Mexican farmers out of business. NAFTA was eventually replaced by USMCA. The USMCA was signed by the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico in November 30, 2018. It was established to provide free market and fairer trade for the benefit of workers, farmers, ranchers, and businesses in order to drive robust economic growth and to provide well-paying jobs and new opportunities for the North American middle class. Custom union is similar to free trade area, but the member countries have common external tariffs and joint position in trade negotiations with countries outside the union. Fourth is the common market. It is custom union plus movement factors, especially labor and capital. The key feature in the extension of free trade from just tangible goods to include all economic resources. A common market is the most significant step towards full economic integration. Fifth is the economic union. It is the final step in an economic integration process. The Union member countries allow the freedom of movement of goods, services, and the factors of production such as capital and labor. Plus, they have a common external trade policy. Also, the Union member countries have common currency and harmonized monetary and fiscal policies. European Union is the example. It operates as one unit in the global economy, with majority of member states adopting the euro as their single currency. Denmark and UK negotiated to retain their own currencies. Its purpose is to be more competitive in the global marketplace. The Europe's trade structure has propelled it to become the world's second largest economy after China, GDP 22 to 25.3 trillion dollars respectively. The European Union took effect in 1993 under the Maastricht Treaty. International financial institutions are established and owned by several governments and international institutions. They are members of the World Bank Group. Examples International Finance Corporation. Regional development banks, example, we have the Asian Development Bank, and export credit agencies of individual country governments, example is the US Export Import Bank. The goals of international financial institutions are to help reduce global poverty and improve living conditions and standards, support sustainable economic, social, and institutional development, promote regional and or global cooperation and integration. The focus areas of international financial institutions are to support the social and economic development programs of nations with developing or transitional economies, provide advice, funding, and assistance in the implementation of large scale infrastructure projects in emerging markets, and to provide capital to increase the participation of other players. In addition to international financial institutions, there are many international organizations and alliances which were established to foster stronger economic, political, or security ties among nations. They also play important roles in global market integration. The OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, is a group of influential and highly developed countries that discuss and develop economic and social policies. It publishes economic reports, databases, analysis, and forecasts on the outlook for worldwide economic growth. The OECD was established in 1960 by 18 European nations. In 1961, United States and Canada joined. Now, it has members from South America and Asia Pacific. OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, was established to increase the price of oil, which in the past had a relatively low price and had not kept up with inflation. It has a considerable global market power as it has major control of the world's crude oil and natural gas reserves, estimated at around 80% and 50% respectively. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries was founded in 1960 by five oil-producing countries, namely Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was established on August 8, 1967. Philippines was one of the founding members. Today, there are 10 member states. One of aims and purpose is to accelerate the economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region. Always remember that the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015 was a major milestone in the regional economic integration agenda. Collectively, the Asian market is worth 2.6 trillion US dollars, making it the third largest economy in Asia and the seventh largest in the world. Global corporations are key players in global economic integration. They influence consumer behavior like spending patterns, lifestyles, work, culture, among others. With advancement of technology, more so lately with digital technology, the world has become smaller and easier for global corporations to conquer. Here are the nature of global corporations. They extend beyond the borders of their country of origin. They conduct major activities like manufacturing, distribution, research and development, marketing, and selling of products and services in the countries where they operate. Some have strong brand recognition globally. Some can influence the local and global trade laws or regulations, and can influence the economy and culture. International companies make their products at their originating country. They have no foreign investments. Their international activities are limited to importing and exporting products. Multinational companies have foreign investments and localizes products and services according to preferences of the local market. Global companies have investments in many countries but maintain a strong headquarters in one country. They typically market their products and services to each individual global market. The transactional companies are very complex organizations with investments in many countries. They have a global headquarters but distributes decision-making powers and research and development to various national headquarters. Here are some important points which you need to remember about the history of global market integration. Global economic integration dates back as early as the Roman times and continues to be relevant in today's contemporary world. Economic integration is manifested and is driven by key actors such as the financial institutions, international organizations and alliances, governments, and global corporations. And here are the major international financial institutions and international organizations and alliances that help foster global economic cooperation among the different countries. We have the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, Bretton Woods System, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, World Trade Organization, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And here are some important points which you need to remember about the history of global market integration. Their degree of economic integration can be classified in five stages. Number one, preferential trade area. 2. Free trade area. 3. Customs union. 4. Common market. And 5. Economic union. I hope you learned something today. With that, thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more educational video updates. Thank you so much.